Have you ever felt like the software you bought to make life easier has, become your single biggest headache? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. So in this explainer, we're going to break down how you can flip that script, how to turn all that chaos into a seriously powerful, predictable engine for growth.
All right, let's just get right to the heart of it with a big counterintuitive idea. The problem isn't your automation software. It's not that HighLevel or whatever you're using is slow or unreliable or too complex. No, the real issue, the thing that's actually holding you back, is the thinking behind it all.
And this slide right here, this is what we call the automation paradox. I bet this looks pretty familiar. On the left, that's the dream, right? The promise of smooth automation, crystal clear reporting, total efficiency. But on the right, well, that's the reality for so many businesses. A Frankenstein mess of workflows that are all stitched together, reports you can't trust, leads falling through the cracks, and of course, teams pointing fingers at each other. If that hits a little too close to home, it's a huge sign that there's a much deeper issue at play.
So what's the fix? Well, it all starts with a really simple but incredibly powerful shift in your mindset. We have to stop thinking like automators, just patching problems as they pop up, and start thinking like architects who design an entire system that's actually built to last. Okay, so what in the world is a systems architect? Well, think of them as this rare breed. They're the kind of person who can see the big picture strategy from like 30,000 feet up, but they're also not afraid to roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty with the deep technical details. They're not just running around putting out fires, they're building the very foundation the future of the business will stand on.
This slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? The automator is always in reaction mode. They're playing whack-a-mole, slapping on band-aids that honestly just make things more complicated down the road. But the architect? They are proactive. They're working from a clear blueprint, building solid infrastructure and creating a system that brings clarity and is designed to scale right alongside the business. And look, this quote just says it all. Your software isn't the villain here. It's an incredibly powerful tool. But without a solid architectural plan, even the best tools in the world can create more chaos than they solve.
So how do you actually start thinking like an architect? Well, it all comes down to a straightforward framework built on 4 pillars. And this is what can transform any business from total chaos into a model of clarity.
Here they are, the 4 pillars of a well-architected business. First up, lead generation. And listen, this isn't just about running a few ads here and there. It's about building a complete end-to-end engine to capture, track, and nurture every single lead. Second, operations. This is all about automating the internal busywork to eliminate chaos and give your team their time back to focus on what really matters. Third, reporting that doesn't lie. You absolutely need data you can trust, and that means building a data structure that tells you the real story, no guessing. And finally, number 4, solid infrastructure. Your websites and funnels need to be engineered from the ground up for proper tracking and, of course, for conversion.
Okay, that's the theory. But what does this architect-level thinking look like in the real world? Let's take something as simple as a Google review and see how an architect turns it from a simple, nice-to-have into a powerful, secret weapon for your marketing.
This is the key insight. This is where the light bulb should be going on. When you get a review, you're not just getting a nice little quote to put on your website, you are literally feeding Google's algorithm valuable data that helps you rank higher. Every single review is a potential SEO powerhouse. And this slide shows the 2 very different ways to go about it. On one side, you've got the volume hustler. They get a ton of reviews, sure, but they're all one-liners like great service. It's just background noise. But then you have the SEO sniper. They might get fewer reviews, but wow, are they better. They're packed with details, photos, and locations that Google's algorithm absolutely loves, turning each one into pure SEO fuel. So what's the secret sauce? What makes a review a true force multiplier? Well, it's really a combination of these 4 things. First, it needs to be descriptive. It mentions the actual service. Second, it's got to have geographic relevance, like the customer city. Third, photos are a huge plus. They add that layer of authenticity. And fourth, credibility. Reviews from established users, like Google's local guides, just carry more weight. Get all 4, and you've hit the jackpot. And you know what the best part is? Getting these amazing reviews is way easier than you think. It's not rocket science. Just follow these 3 simple steps. 1, timing is everything. Ask for the review right after a successful job, when the customer is at their happiest. 2, Make it ridiculously easy. Give them a direct link or a QR code. Remove all friction. And 3, give them a gentle prompt. Just a little nudge to include the service, their location, and maybe a photo. It's really that simple.
Now that was just one small example with Google reviews. But imagine when you apply this architectural thinking to your entire business. The results can be absolutely transformative. You go from constant chaos to total clarity, and from guesswork to real, measurable growth. Check this out. This is an equipment rental company with over 40 locations. After their systems were rebuilt from the ground up, they saw this massive jump in their online visibility. And we're talking over 100,000 new impressions and almost 400 new search clicks in less than a month. For the first time, they could see a clear, undeniable return on their investment.
Or take these wellness clinics. By streamlining their booking and internal task management, they cut their administrative workload by a whopping 70%. But this wasn't about cutting jobs, not at all. It was about freeing up their amazing team to do what they do best, focus on serving their clients.
You know, we see this exact same pattern again and again and again. You start with broken, chaotic systems, you rebuild them the right way with a real architecture, and the result is always explosive clarity, speed, and return on investment, every single time.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. A question for you to ask yourself honestly. Is your business built on a solid architecture, or is it just a messy pile of automations? Because the answer to that question could be the key to unlocking your next level of growth.